morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. Welcome to 1847 Liberty. We stream live from Minnesota, USA.
Good evening. This is Thomas Sarko here today with a fresh edition of 1847 Liberty. And we are looking at a special discussion today, breaking the cycle, the imperative for genuine collective action in Liberia. Tonight, we're not here to trade insults or focus on personalities, but we are here to confront the deeper questions. Why does our country continue to struggle with the same problems, weak institutions, poor services, corruption, and a lack of accountability, no matter who is in power? From the historic divide between the so-called country people and Congo people, to the promises of the 1980 coup, to today's debates over demolitions in Monrovia, border security, and Representative Yeket Koluba's remarks, one pattern keeps repeating: outrage over individuals, but little sustained pressure on the system itself. So tonight we ask, are we defending our people, our land, and our sovereignty? Are the media helping us focus on the real issues or distracting us from them? And what would genuine unity, sustained collective action by Liberians actually look like? We invite you to listen, reflect, and participate as citizens who own this republic and are determined to secure a better future for Liberia. Okay, bear with me. Here we go again.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. Welcome to 1847 Liberty. We stream live from Minnesota, USA.
So Liberia's history is marked by a deep divide between the country people, so-called, who have long felt marginalized, and the so-called Congo people, or Americo-Liberians, who were often more educated and prominent in government. This latter group included not only people of American slave descent, but also others who were considered qualified for leadership. Years of marginalization led the country people to unite against the ruling class, fueled by protests from a group calling itself the Progressives against the Congo establishment. This unrest culminated in the 1980 coup that ousted President William R. Torbert. Debate remains over the true instigators of the coup, whether it was the Progressives, Master Sergeant Samuel Doe, or foreign actors. So after 1980, when the So-called country people gained power, oversight weakened, and accountability broke down completely, giving way to ethnocentrism, transactional politics, and vote buying, which took root with personal gain prioritized over national progress, which also bred inefficiency. The government lost meaningful checks and balances and became the proverbial elephant meat as political actors waited to divide the nation's resources. This lowering of standards brought unexpected figures to power. For instance, Yeke Koluba, a former combatant with limited formal education or political experience, joined I beg your pardon, some glacier in the studio, joined the legislature despite often ignoring formalities and decorum. Yet, he stands out for passionately representing citizens, exposing improprieties, and challenging fellow lawmakers to serve their constituents. Recently, Yeke criticized the government for evicting vulnerable citizens from land in Monrovia claimed by the armed forces of Liberia. Like many well-meaning Liberians, Yeke condemned President Boaka's tone during the demolition of homes and businesses built by struggling citizens in a city designed for far fewer people. Instead of addressing the root causes, such as inadequate basic services in other parts of the country, the government evicted residents without providing resettlement options or development plans for the army land. Yeke sharpened his criticism by saying, since God is not going to produce new land for the Republic of Guinea, they have the right to annex part of Liberia as their own, echoing President Boakai's remark during the eviction. God was not coming to make a new land, said President Boaka. The land was the AFL, and squatters should vacate immediately. The public reacted with outrage. Many demanded Yeke's impeachment for perceived unpatriotic remarks, and lawmakers led efforts to remove him. Against this backdrop, I recently joked with a colleague that Yeke is the lesser evil in our inept legislature, a sentiment echoed by our current information minister, Mr. Jared Limick Pia, whom I greatly admire. He has described Yeke as a dedicated national leader. Although Yeke does not fit the conventional mold of a politician, his commitment to accountability and to truly representing his constituents is undeniable. When the president authorized the military to remove vulnerable citizens, or the authorities, not the military, I beg your pardon, vulnerable citizens from government lands, no other elected official intervened on behalf of those displaced people, despite chronic overcrowding being a long-standing governmental failure. Koluba's methods and rhetoric may lack refinement, yet he is regarded as one of the most patriotic elected officials in recent years. Liberians must move beyond outrage as an isolated incident or as isolated incidents, and instead direct their collective anger at long-standing failures, which are, lack of clean water, unreliable electricity, persistent diseases, and recycled government officials. The central argument is this: only united, sustained pressure from all citizens can end these cycles of failure. Organized demand, citizens should organize, demand accountability, and insist on genuine reform from those in leadership. The focus should not be on impeaching Mr. Koluba for his rhetoric, but on demanding accountability for the government's repeated failures, both in defending Liberia's territory and in addressing the root causes of the ongoing border crisis. This is the central imperative. Collective action and principled leadership are essential to breaking Liberia's cycle of mismanagement. Instead of entertaining the misguided idea of impeaching Mr. Koluba for his sarcastic statement, our collective anger should be directed at the current Liberian government for its failure to defend our country's territory and sovereignty. So not only did the government fail to secure the border, but its lackadaisical approach to managing the crisis and informing the public about the root causes of the Guinean encroachment is unacceptable and arguably treasonous. I fully agree with Mr. Tiawon Gonglo, Councillor Tiawon Gonglo's call for the impeachment of the president if he does not take decisive action to investigate and prosecute the alleged illegal mining of minerals at the disputed Makona River in Lofa County by some government officials, which sparked the border crisis. Now, given the seriousness of these issues, why aren't the newspapers and the Liberian media in general more prominently highlighting this story and demanding answers from the government? Why is much of the media falling for the government's diversionary tactic of vilifying Mr. Koluba for a single statement instead of focusing on the government's ineptitude in performing its primary duty of defending our sovereignty? Now, real progress will only come when all Liberians unite in demanding transparency, accountability, and justice from those in power. The cycles of division, mismanagement, and misplaced outrage must end. It is time for citizens, leaders, and the media alike to rise above distractions and work together in pursuit of genuine reform, because only collective action can secure a better future for Liberia.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. Welcome to 1847 Liberty, We stream live from Minnesota, USA.
Okay, gentlemen. Okay, we are all in the studio. We bring on to the stage Mrs. King. Okay, so joining us tonight to unpack these critical issues, we have returning to the show, Mr. Charles E. King, our senior uh, criminal justice and law enforcement analyst. Mr. King, welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sako. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, also joining us from the East Coast is our senior foreign policy and national security advisor, Mr. John Mauro from Columbia, Maryland. Mr. Mauro, welcome back.
Good to be here. Good evening to all the other panelists, and happy to be here once more.
Okay, and making her second appearance is our dear Mrs. Annie Mae Jones King, who is our expert in artificial intelligence. Mrs. King, welcome back to 1847 Liberty.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, thank you all so much. We'll take this one, and when we get back, we'll get right into our discussion. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will first take a look at the historical context and the power dynamics in our society, beginning with you, Mr. King. How has the historic divide between country people, so-called, and Americo-Liberians shaped Liberia's politics and governance up to today?
Thank you very much. And I just want to mention here that over the years, the lack of information and accurate information about Liberia's founding and the actors that were involved has created the issue in our country, because many people, let's say our citizens, are really not aware of really the intricacies involved in this Americo-Liberian country people business. I will break it down as simple as this to say, when you, without understanding the history, this looks, oh, that's a big divide, yes. But if you understand the African slave trade and understand how the Americo-Liberians got there to return to Africa and to the era now Liberia, the approach would be different. And when you mentioned at some point in time earlier, the progressives that brought about this big change and overthrew the established government, well, just to let you know that in that group were Congo people, Americo-Liberia as well. So that's within there is a misstatement of facts.
Yes.
You see, this is the country people took over. No. The Americo-Liberian, the Congo people were in that group too, but they keep their mouth quiet because they want to appear to be indigenous, but they're not. You see, and the second aspect here is because of the lack of understanding by the majority of the Liberian people, information concerning the actions that were taken by the quote-unquote Americo-Liberians against the quote-unquote natives, certain information was left out purposely by the progressives, by some of the progressives. If they had indicated the truth about what happened, the facts, it would have changed the narrative. That's what my feelings are. Okay, so you have both items or issues going against one another here, but it's the misinformation, inaccurate information, and incomplete information that was used. And that's all I have to say, because I have my other colleagues here that will add more to this than I already.
Thank you, Mr. King. Well said. I also, am of the school of thought that there is no, big difference. There is no such thing as American Liberian and native Liberian because we're all intermarried. If you look at the real descendants of the free slaves, like in Liberia, they are less than 10%. And during the First Republic, the government was not exclusively comprised of only American Liberian. It was about the educated versus the not so educated. Yeah, so that's what I think. So, Mrs. King, I would like to follow. I would like for you to follow up on this one. Do you believe that that statement is true? That there is no such thing as American Liberian versus native Liberian. That we are all just a mixture of the people. We are just one people.
Yes, but before I do that, when
Mhm.
you introduce me as the AI person. I am deeply rooted in AI, but also have a master's degree in communication studies, focusing on social interaction and intercultural relationship. So I say that to add credence to what I bring to this discussion.
Okay.
It- it's a complex. Liberia is a complex construct. Um, a lot of Liberia history is oral history, and when you bring oral history, a lot of things change. Add that on to human interaction and how humans assimilate or how human function. There, at, at this point in Liberia's um, existence, I believe that the Congo country thing has been diluted a whole lot because people intermarried, as you say, um, and people decide to affiliate sometimes with the power base, and I think that's where some of this comes from. The affiliation of power base cause people to maybe change their name to quote unquote to some more American Liberian, or and you find that in any culture. The issue is we allowed Liberians to identify more on this caste system of American Liberia and Congo instead of identifying on who they are as Liberian on a country and the culture perspective of that country. Yes, in Liberia it was difficult to do it because you had two group of people. You had the people who came back, whether they were American Liberian or they were people who in the middle of the transatlantic slavery, their ships got turned around and they may have been coming from even other African countries. So a lot of people who were labored American Liberians were not even descendants of free slaves. They were on a ship, maybe bound for some country, and they got turned around, or they migrated to Liberia from other countries. But again, being human, when you enter a new land, you look for where the power base is. And when you find that power base, you associate with that power base. So therefore, you become quote unquote American Liberians. And we let that perpetuate through years and decades and dilute and almost sweep away what it is to be a Liberian. And because of that, we created a hotspot that was bound to blow up. No matter what, it was bound to blow up because we created a hotspot. And that hotspot was where the so-called progressive came in. They found that weakness, that weak point on in where they could infiltrate. Now, if we look at, did it achieve anything? You and I may say no, because Liberia now is probably worse than it was back in 1980 when the coup happened. So, and then the war, the destruction of Liberia is way beyond a discussion that you and I can have today. It's something that we will be studying for years to come, but we as a people have never put in the time to study the destruction of Liberia.
Well said. Thank you. That was really deep. I appreciate you for that comment. We will hear from our senior foreign policy and national security expert, Mr. Maulo. So, in what ways does the legacy of the 1980 coup still influence how ordinary Liberians perceive power, legitimacy, and leadership?
Well, thank you, and welcome, my brother who just came on.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh yeah, that's. I beg your pardon. We have a very diverse panel today. That's presidential hopeful, Mr. Mejistu Wolokoli, who has a military background. So a very diverse panel today to really look at the issues at hand. Welcome to the show, Mr. Wolokoli.
Thank you for having me today.
All right.
Hopefully my internet don't act crazy.
Okay.
So
All right. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption, Mr. Maulo. Please continue.
well, thank you, Mrs. King, for the in-depth, explanation, and Mr. King. Listen, for me, it's always been a matter of ignorance and miseducation. Um, you know, first of all, we got everything confused. We classify everybody in one big bucket to the point we can't tell the difference. As far as who ran the country and who did not, and who had opportunity and who did not, as I lived and traveled this world, I look around and I say, so what was the big issue here? If you look, for example, in the American system, most of the leaders went to Yale, Harvard, Columbia. If you go to the British system, they go to Oxford and all those kind of things. Why do they go there? Why do they go there? Are they teaching something that different from other places?
Maybe to network, right?
Exactly. They got golf courses in this place that you got to pay $100,000 to be a member. The problem is when you see the people who are members, they can't play golf. All right. So what am I saying? I'm saying that we fail to understand that this whole issue of who you know runs the world, who you affiliate with. We let ourselves get riled up by some people who themselves were seeking opportunity. The problem with them was that they were not prepared themselves. We got this notion in Liberia. Let me limit it to Liberia. That as soon as you finish college, you qualify. I beg to differ with that notion. When you finish college, you're only capable of thinking at a higher level. You're not qualified for anything yet. It is your experience that makes you qualify. And the opportunity that you get depends on how good you are, or should depend on how good you are. Now, human nature being what it is, sometimes there will be bias. We all hope that it be meritorious, that you get what you deserve because of merit. We can't ever make everything equal, but at least if we make the majority equal, we can deal with the minority that is not. So I think this whole issue about Congo country is a figment of imagination, depending on which side you stand. And true or false, I don't believe it to be true. Yes, there have been some biases like there is in everywhere, but there were breakthroughs. And if you flip that time over to this time, what's the difference? So then why did we fight? Why is there confusion amongst us? So was it an issue that could be understood, or was it an issue that needed to end up the way it ended up? I have a problem with that whole scenario. And I think, and like I always say, ignorance is a national security problem. And when people are, you easy to manipulate or to be manipulated. And I think that has been our problem. And until we consider effort in re-educating our people, we will always have these kind of problems. Because as we can see, nothing has changed. In fact, yes, excuse me, something has changed. It has gotten worse. So for me, that's where I stand, and I don't believe it served us any good. In fact, if there's anything, it made us worse as a people. And so that's where I stand. Thomas, are you there? Can't hear you.
I left myself out. All right, yeah, come. So let's hear from Mr. Wolokoli. How can young leaders like yourself, Mr. Wolokoli, change the status quo? Mr. Wolokoli?
Can you repeat the question?
How can young leaders, up and coming leaders like yourself, change the status quo? The whole culture of ineptitude, lack of patriotism, lack of accountability. How can young guys like yourself who are, dreaming to become leaders change the whole narrative?
Okay, I apologize in advance to my older people on the panel, because what I'm about to say, I'm not gonna. It's not about being disrespectful, but I just certain things that when I say it, the older people tend to take it as personal attack on the older people.
I'm not old.
But mature, seasoned.
Correction, nobody here is old. We're all young.
Eric, yeah, exactly. We here to give our opinion.
Yeah.
We're not here to be apologizing whether somebody old, young, or anything.
No, I'm just trying to be. I'm just trying to be respectful
No, you are a professional. Give your professional opinion in a professional
Yes,
manner.
no. I hear you. I hear you, ma'am. I hear
Yeah.
you.
So
But
there's no
to
hierarchy.
answer your
No,
question,
we just welcome mutual respect, but there's no hierarchy. Okay. Mr. Wolokoli,
I'm not
please.
getting. No, the question that you asked, I have been asked this question numerous of times. My time
Yes.
in Liberia, and I have been asked this question, and when I give this response, I'm attacked by the seasoned people. They say, what they tend to say is, you have to sit on the old mat to plot the new mat. That's the quote that is always told to me. So to answer the question,
Thank you.
a couple of things. The older generation have to admit their mistakes. They have to admit their mistakes, that they messed up. From speaking from my generation standpoint, come 2029, 2030, the Liberia, the Second Republic, it would have been 50. It would be 50 years since the Second Republic. Are you still there, Thomas?
We are with
Hello?
you. We're giving you the stage. We're with you.
Oh,
Please
okay.
proceed. Yep.
It would be 50 years come 2030 that the new republic was established. The question I tend to ask, what have we done in the 50 years since the overthrow and the murder of President William R. Tubber and his cabinet ministers and chief justice and speakers and so forth? Where have we accomplished in Liberia, in the Second Republic? What can the so-called natives or the so-called progressive that asked for push for change and the killing that took place, what have we accomplished in 50 years? And whenever I ask that question, I'm told that, if you can't see it, we can't tell you that. We can't tell you anything. It's always a back and forth of what we have done, this, and this. And I ask them, what is it that you have done? Give me specifically what have happened in the past. Now, it's 46 years, but the next election, the next president, it will be 50 years.
So, Mr.
Yes.
Wolokoli, that's the question that we're all asking, and we're yearning for answers. So I'm saying now, the past is the past, but going forward, what if you were given a chance today or tomorrow to become a leader? What would you do differently to change the entire narrative?
If I was given a chance, most of President William R. Tubber policies that he was trying to implement and vision that he was trying to implement, I would go ahead and start to do that. There will be some things that would have to change around because of the time that he wanted to do it and the time that we are in. But the foundation of it would be something that I would start with. Meaning, with President Tubber, what we know, President Tubber wanted to decentralize Liberia. That's something that we'll have to go into looking at doing that. Second, Tubber was the president who actually did more for the military than Tubman or Barkley. So one of my things is to increase the military size from 2,500 to 20,000, where we'll have creating a National Guard, a Marines, Air Force, and so forth, and things like that. Making the military to be the one to implement.
We're going to come back to you. We're going to come back to
infrastructure development.
We'll circle back to you, Mr. Wolokoli. A good point, but I want to argue that you're still going, according to your explanation, like you're still using the old mat to plot the new one, right? Because you're still borrowing, from the blueprint.
Agreed. I'm using Tubber old mat, not the past 50 years old mat.
That's correct that. to counter that argument. But we'll circle back to you. Thank you very much. Let's go back to Mrs. King. Mrs. King, give me your background. How have ethnocentrism and identity-based politics affected the quality of leadership and public institutions in Liberia since 1980?
Well, the issue is, again, when you walk up probably to the average Liberian, the first thing they say, oh, a Bassa woman or a crewman, you see me, I behaving like Bassa woman. When will we start behaving like Liberians? When will we? It's almost like your allegiance is to a tribe and not to the country in which you stand. So when Mr. Wolakolli said he coming to make a 20,000 army, I respect him and I respect his views. But the question then becomes, when those 20,000 people take their oath, are they taking it to Liberia, or are they taking it to the Kru tribe or the Bassa tribe? Is the destructuring of the Liberian to understand that our first allegiance is to Liberia before anything else. And that is the reason why sometimes you hear people say, Liberian people don't support nobody, because everybody is so focused on their tribe. And that's, to an extent, it's all well and good. Because we know even in America, the senator from Louisiana will be focused on what's good for Louisiana. The senator from Washington State will be focused on that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that country. And we see now, when you don't focus on the country, what kind of mess that can happen all over the world. So there's so much to deconstruct on Liberia. Even after the Civil War, we did not attend to the mental health of the Liberian people. We ignored that kind of trauma that Liberian people went through. So it's like we keep putting things on top of things on top of things. And Liberia has never been a perfect nation. And I agree with Mr. Wolakolli. There were a lot of things in Liberia that needed to change. A lot of things. And unfortunately, Mr. Tauber was not given the chance to even try. And we all hope that he would have been given the chance, because there was so much hope and he has so much to offer Liberia. You know, it's the joke where people talk about Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter was, in a sense, a good president, but he never got the chance because everything kind of just disturbed his presidency. And he didn't get that chance. So when we talk about Liberia and its imperfect union, or all the imperfect things about Liberia, we have to deconstruct so many things about how even now Liberia has such a high illiteracy rate. One. The second thing is, we continue to make the most dominant population in Liberia second-class citizen women. Women are the majority in Liberia. And then a lot of those women are widowers because the men were killed during the war. So they become single parent. And not just in Liberia, we see it in America too. When you have a single parent who's a woman, you need to give that woman ways in which she can be able to become economic viable. And that is why all over the world we see women and children are the poorest people. Those are the things we need to look at. We need to look at how we can educate Liberians in understanding that Liberia comes first. Your tribal identity or whatever you want to call yourself comes second. Me, I consider myself a Liberian. I don't even think my parents affiliated with as close to label themselves coming from a certain tribe. Yes, my father spent time as representative from Kipma, but I'm not going to hold him responsible that he didn't throw a vine in the house. I'm not going to call my mother responsible because she didn't throw a basket in the house for me to learn it. Because in my heart, I'm a Liberian. Regardless of whether I can speak Kru, Bassa, Pele, whatever. If I see a Liberian, and in my professional life in this America, I have helped so many Liberians. If I see a Liberian looking for a job, and I'm in the capacity to hire, and that person is qualified, I will hire the Liberian before I hire anybody else. Because let me tell you something, they do it too. They hire their own before they hire anybody else. But Liberian people, no, me I will bring a Liberian. The people, these people in this country in which we live, they will hire their own before they hire anybody else. And so we almost need to deprogram the Liberians and how we think and understand that we are Liberians and Liberia come first. Whether I can speak Bassa, whether I can speak Va, when they in Liberia, what we say, when the car come in, now you down, wait for me to tell you move from there in Bassa, then you will die. Well, I say you better move from there, you better start running. So that's the issue. We stand so firm on this tribal, whatever you want to call it, that it is, and it continues to block Liberia's progress. And yes, when you're doing your job as a legislature, yes, that those people you represent are important and they must come first. But you as a person, Liberia must come first.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Mrs. King. So, Mr. Mauro, Mrs. King stressed on the need for addressing long-standing division and other underlying social issues. Do you have any follow-up or addition to that before we move on to our next segment?
Well, yes, just a little bit. I tell people I went to school in the 70s and finished up in the 80s. And until 1980, we never asked each other about your tribe. I don't know some of my classmate tribes until now. And I don't care. We were just Liberians, and we were happy to be. It was after the coup that as soon as you tell somebody hello, they ask you what tribe. And I always tell them I'm Liberian. Go figure. Now, because of intermarriages, most of us don't speak no dialect. Because if my pa come from Nima and my mom came from Grand Kipma, what you want me to speak?
Both.
You know? So in my house, they would speak English, and that's why I would speak. You understand? Now, if you had two parents from the same tribal group, maybe you would learn how to speak their dialect if they spoke it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so all of those superficial nonsense that we occupy ourselves with about what tribe you speak, I don't speak no tribe. I don't speak no dialect, for excuse me. And it hasn't offended me one day. The people I deal with, they speak English. I speak English and French. I don't speak no dialect. I always jokingly tell people when your dialect become economically potent, then we speak it. As long as it can benefit me, I don't have to speak it. And even if I spoke my dialect, if I go to the next tribe and I can't speak it, what good is it to me? You understand? So we got one center point, Liberia.
Yes.
And until we understand that that is paramount to all we do, Liberia must be the most important thing. If Liberia is thriving, your tribe will thrive. If Liberia is failing, your tribe will fail. So we got intended interest in making Liberia thrive so that we together as a people can have a better life. Like Talbot used to say, a wholesome function in society. Because if we keep on separating ourselves like we have, we see where it's carrying us to civil war and all this kind of nonsense that we today can't even explain why we fought. You understand? And so, for these reasons, I think our people and I always emphasize that it should start. It's hard now to train the people that are there, that all their life, that's all they know. But what I think we could do is put the resources into starting with the young children, going to kindergarten, and have a whole new curriculum for them. And then change the radio and TV programming with a whole new programming to get into socially psychologize our people into this new country that we want them to be a part of, where we're more concerned about our country than we are concerned about what village or what tribe we come from. Because one thing I know in Liberia, you always have had an opportunity to excel. Like everywhere else, where you rubs on you. But there was always an opportunity to excel, you know? And so the lies that we want to tell ourselves that people didn't have opportunity, well, look in the government as far back as you can and see how many people had opportunities. And so I think our problem now, or our effort should be, and if we're serious about remaking our country, is to re-educate. And we can do it through the official kind of way where people go to school, but we could also use TV and radio to re-educate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the message that I gathered from there is reorient our mindset and one nation, one people, and one shared destiny. That ends our first segment, or we'll move on to the next one. And we're looking at leadership, standards, and representation. So I'll begin with you, Mr. King, and then Mr. Wolokoli can follow up. So what does the rise of figures like Yeke Koluba tell us about Liberia's expectations of their leaders and representatives? Mr. King, you are muted.
I'm sorry. Now you can hear me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I teach the young people with the Ministry of Youth and Sport, Ministry of Youth in Ganta, and we're having a radio program as well. I've concentrated on the youth. The reason being, is, as Mr. Mawalo has mentioned, and Mrs. King and Mr. Wolokolo, if if you don't start with the basics now, you will have no one for Mama Liberia's future. So when we talk about uh, leadership and standards, you have to educate the young people now into what expectation they have of a leader. And this is what I do. I'm teaching them from eras such as The Liberian Quest for Freedom by Patrick Burroughs. I'm also teaching them from Growing of Africa's Emergent Leaders. And there's another book here which Madame Ekerele wrote, which is The Liberian Way, Breaking the Cycle. And this is what we're talking about, this Liberian way, breaking the cycle. I have not, I have taken on the responsibility to inform and educate the young people that I'm getting, and that's like 20 of them every month. And we are also on the radio programs where those who I've trained in how to think, having their radio programs and getting them out through the local radio stations. All we require is that contributors come to pay for the broadcast. No one charges them anything except for the broadcast. But what I have found from these young people is they want to learn. They want to know. I teach them how to become leaders and what to do when you are in the government or in private business, what it means. And they love it. I mean, they're absorbing all of this in. And I keep on stating, I don't talk to no adults now because they've gone past. Let somebody else handle the adults. I will handle the youth because they need the preparation and they need the understanding about their country. A lot of the government people, you're talking about leadership and standard, a lot of the government people don't know the history of Liberia. They don't know the essence of our country. So they get up there and make speeches, and you can always hear the division in their speeches. They think, they think that other people don't listen to them. They can deal with the local people because the local people, they don't have the awareness yet. And when I talk to my group, I tell them, go to your senators, your representative, and when they say, come follow me to vote for me, tell them you want book. You want to read about your government. You want to read about the history of Mama Liberia. Because you can, if you don't know the history of Liberia, how can you lead the Liberian people? And we will get into this situation when Mr. Sako go on to the border issue. I will mention something there as well. So you want to be a representative and you don't know the history of your country? And you want to be a president, former president, and you say this the stipulation in our constitution about only people of African descent can be citizens, and you turn around and say it's racist. How can you make a statement like that when you don't know the context and you're listening? People are listening to you who don't understand the essence of the republic and what we went through. Not one country could assist us. We were alone. We had no one. They were ready to take Liberia like this and give it to Hitler to appease him. So those are background. And the students that I'm talking to, they don't even know some of these names because they are being kept from it. And I always tell them, find out what Liberia was before. And for those who are listening, if you don't find out what Liberia was before and what we had, you would think this is the first time anything has happened in Liberia. And that's a lie. If you knew what Liberia was before and the status that we had before, you're going to ask the people, well, wait a minute now, what was all this thing for in the first place? And you have those, and I'm going to mention it now, you have those people who are progressives who created all this disturbance. Where are they living now? Some in England, some in Paris, some somewhere else. They run away from you. And when they come back, you invite them to come talk to you as a party, and then they turn around and go again. You ask them why didn't come back. So these are little things that I begin to tell the students that I'm working with, and they begin to think about. And they get up in the class, and I purposely allow them to talk to their classmates, and they begin to discuss this thing. And finally, I tell them about, because this book by Dr. Burroughs is an excellent book. This is the one to start with first. Any one of you out there who wants to start a program, you get these students, Liberia in the Quest for Freedom first. You on the listening out there, get this book. Then you will understand when you call Gil, when you call Pele, you will understand what Mrs. King and Mr. Mawalo what's talking about national identity, patriotism. Oh, here Liberia, they didn't even know how to sing the Liberian national anthem. So don't even know the words. So what do? Mr. King, they call me Coach King. I give them the national anthem. I said, tell me what it means. The Lone Star Forever. Tell me what it means. If you don't know, then you can't be a patriot. Patriotism, understanding your country. Then, when they call you to be in power in some government position, and mayor of your community or a community leader, when they put in the paper the street dirty, don't go and arrest the person who tell you, go and say, where the street at? Let me go clean it, because you're working for the people. Now, this has to be something that we all must teach. This must be something that we must pass on to the youth of Mama Liberia. The adults, y'all can do that on your own. I just deal with a young mind. So, because you mentioned the mindset, and this is the mindset that I'm working with. But if people in government and other places, we have to change. We have to change the mindset. They don't even know what a mind is, let alone to change it.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I have to say for now. We'll go on somewhere else.
Thank you, Mr. King. Yes, I think we need to work on the youth, the young ones, that's very important. But I will follow up on that, on the likes of Yeka Koluba, leaders like Yeka Koluba, unconventional style of leadership. And here's a follow-up for you, Mr. Wolokoli, and both Mrs. King and Mr. Maolo can follow up if you have any input. Is it better to have an unpolished leader who speaks plainly and fights for citizens, or a more refined leader who may be less accountable to the people? Which one is better, Mr. Wolokoli?
You're kind of breaking in, but I'm gonna just tag on.
I can repeat
some of the stuff that I received. I
can rephrase. Okay, the question. Can you hear me clearly now? So, is it better to have unconventional leaders like Yeke Koluba, who just does not have any regard for decorum or protocol, and it is effective and are effective, than to have leaders who are polished but lack accountability to the people? Which kind of leaders do we need?
I am from a military background. Discipline is the order of the day. Where I grew, the home I grew up in, discipline was the order of the day. I don't consider Representative Yeka Koluba a leader. People may say that's just because he has a style of talking, that does not make him a leader. And if the war didn't take place in Liberia, Yeka Koluba would never be in the House of Representatives. The likes of what Yeka Koluba would never be in the House of Representatives. I blame the leadership of Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the progressive Charles Ganga Taylor, Samuel Kanyan Doe, and stuff for President Yeka Koluba, and the likes of George Manawia being president. So when you don't place leadership, not everybody can be called a leader. People, just because somebody is in a position, he's in a position of leadership. That don't mean that he is a leader. You know, I don't even think he's in a position of leadership. He's just in a position. That does not make him a leader. He may be leader in his house, but does not mean he's leader of a country. He may be people.
So let me pick up from where you for something important that you stated. So, in your opinion, right? What are some of the characteristics of an ideal leader? The ones that you will, be proud of, you accept instead of
Discipline, man
mhm.
of moral courage, integrity, great character. Someone who you can motivate others. You don't need to take the glory for your people. Someone who elevates others. You elevating others to inspire better than themselves. That's what I would consider discipline, integrity, great moral courage, and character. That's what I would consider a leader.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mauro. Let's unpack what the gentleman just
Well,
shared.
yeah,
Do you agree with his assessment that guys like Yeka Koluba are not leaders?
well, if we want to take leadership for what it is, 99% of the people in the legislature won't be there. You understand?
All right.
But what we got to understand right now is where we put our country. We cannot be ashamed of a man like Yeke because that's what 99% of our people are. That's the language they understand. Now you ask the question if a guy like Yeke who stands for the people or polished guy, well, what is polish at that point? Polish to be corrupt? Listen, my thing is this. I would not rather either of them. I want somebody who can represent this country anywhere in the world. That means you don't only have to be polished, but you got to be a patriot seeking this country's interests alone. Then that's the person I want. I don't want somebody who's not polished because as you can relate to your people, you cannot relate outside. And we need to interact with other countries. So we need your polishing for that. But we need your patriotism that when you go out there with your polished self, you seek our nation's interests. Now, for that, it has to be 2 in 1. Patriotic but polished. And yes, I would rather that. But right now, as it is in our country, as it is, taking situation, the French people say, "Étant donné que as is," I would prefer Yeke to a polished, corrupt guy.
Good point. And one thing I gather from your input is that the leaders of any country reflect the true character of the people that they lead.
Exactly.
So Yeka Koluba did not happen by chance.
No, that's the quality of people who got in the country now.
Yeah, we the people elected him, so we cannot blame him for being the way he is. Mrs. King, your take.
I do not know the gentleman. We all know him from listening to him at least me. Let me speak for myself. I know him from listening to him on social media. He seems, and I don't want to focus on him, but that group seems to be passionate about Liberia. And that's well and good. But my issue too is passion is fine. Look, I'm passionate about a lot of things. I'm passionate about Liberia. I'm passionate about Black women, just Black women, no matter where you come from. I'm passionate about my family. It's the vulgarity. And it's not just on the people in Liberia. We hear some of the Liberians here who are social media influencers.
But they come from they're cut from that cloth.
When you hear them, when you and some of them look young, so I'm assuming that they didn't even grow up in Liberia as it is now. But when you hear them, it's like I mean, look, I can curse as good as any sailor, but I know when to do it. Okay, when me and my girlfriends are talking, I'll fair in love and war, I'll fair in everything. But when you are a professional, when you sit down and you become a face of a nation, you must realize that control, respect, and whatever you do reflects on that nation. You can talk, look, I know some Liberians who are very charismatic and they can be dressed in a three-piece suit and they enter some parts of Liberia and the Liberian people come to them because they know how to ingratiate themselves to the people without being rude, without being vulgar, and without being insulting. And you know, when you are insulting, people don't hear your message anymore after that. The ear closes. So you keep hitting a wall. You keep hitting a wall because nobody is listening to you. Your passion is lost because people's ears are closed. I was saying to Mr. King the other day, I say every day I spend hours on the computer. I am learning about AI. I'm looking at things on YouTube who have content out there and everything else. And you know what? All the other Africans, Nigerians, people from East Africa, they are making content on AI. They are making money. They are monetizing their social media thing. 2 seconds later, my people, hey, let me tell you, yeah. And then they got talk about the people anatomy. Why? Look, the other day I watched this girl she was explaining how to fry color.
Mm-hmm.
And she was using like a bag to squeeze the color into the frying thing. Why does she need to describe it using a man's anatomy? What happened to just squeeze the bag and let the thing drop? Simple. But they all seem to imitate each other. Oh, yeah, the other person here talking all these things. So people listening to this, so I coming to talk my own too. Come on. How much money are you people really making off Facebook or Instagram that you allow yourself to just be so vulgar and rude on the internet? Whereas, and then you got no respect because the rest of the other people just passing you by. Nobody's stopping to listen to your nonsense. And the rest of the Africans are making money, and people are stopping, and people are listening, and people saying, there's this woman teaching me how to make images using Gemini or Kling 3.0 and this. And people passing like only Liberians are stopping to listen to your nonsense.
Well, Thomas, let me say something just to add up to what Mrs. King just said. Mrs.
Yes.
King, it all comes back to the quality of people we have in our country today. Those young people you see, most of them came here during the war too. They cut from the same cloth. That's what has happened to our country. With all this dysfunction in our country, that's why, and like you said, none of these people have been treated for the trauma. And as you will see, that everything they explain, it has to be about somebody's anatomy. That's all they think about. You go to the country and you can't have an intelligent conversation with most of them. But as long as you're talking about that other part, oh, the expert. And then you ask yourself, if the future of Liberia are the young people, what future do we have? Because there are the young people that I see, they're not ready. I mean, a guy like Majestu, it's because he grew up somewhere else. But I'm talking about the people who are they ready for anything? But yet, these people want power. And when you look at our House of Representatives, that's the people you see, and those are the people they vote for. They don't want you and myself, no. I mean, he's speaking, I can't even understand what he's saying. And that's true. They have difficulty understanding standard English. You got to speak what he speaks. And that's why a guy like Yeke flourishes, because he speaks to their understanding. And though we get upset with how he does it, but that's how all of them act, and they find that to be normal. And that's the shame. And that should be scary for any of us and any leader.
Yes. We're also having a crisis of morality in Liberia. There's a complete, moral breakdown in our society. And there's a need to start teaching etiquette and things like a mannerism. I remember years ago when I was still so young, I led an initiative through a national high school newspaper, which was geared towards triggering reading and writing interest in high school students. And I also partner in that paper with a lady called Newsvet Janice Weah, who we dedicated a column to teaching mannerism, and etiquette. And we even had a TV, or drama TV show where we dramatize how you treat people, be nice, and it starts from within the home, from the youth. Like Mr. King always said, Coach King, we need to start, paying attention to these little things that really do matter. Because, yes, I see Mrs. King. You wanted to comment?
Yeah, there was one thing you said, it starts in the home.
Yeah.
But what is a home?
Mm-hmm.
You see, we keep forgetting. We keep forgetting the disruption of the war.
Yes.
So yes, it starts in the home, but if the parents didn't have homes because they were displaced, we're coming back again to the trauma and everything else that we didn't address. Liberia is not simple. It wasn't simple before. Now it's 4 times more not simple. Because there's the layers. The layers. So you cannot, we cannot just rely on the home, unfortunately, because most people didn't have homes. They were displaced people. They were homeless people. They were hungry people. I mean, I've never been hungry before, but when I read and I read stories about people who experience extreme hunger, what it does to people mentality. So we cannot leave that responsibility on just the parents anymore.
It's a
I was
collective
strong.
effort. Yep.
Yes. Look, I tell you something. The Department of Labor in the US have decided to make everybody or teach everybody about AI. So what I was on LinkedIn and I saw this thing and I said, let me just try it out. So you register by sending a text to a number. And for 6 weeks, 5 minutes a day, they send you these things just over your cell phone for you to kind of get, and it's really AI 101. It's very basic, but they want people to realize that AI is not just today. It's been around for a while and all of that. How you prompt, how you look. So they are using what everybody has to educate people. Liberia suffers from the lack of innovation and the lack of creativity. Every Liberian walks around with a cell phone in his pocket, and the government of Liberia does not use it to educate the people and change people's lives. That to me is a grave injustice. We grew up in Liberia. We know when Mr. Bleedy came on that TV at 6 o'clock in the evening, every Liberian knew how to wash their hands.
Rose ways to health.
Thank you. Cholera stopped. There was no cholera in Liberia again. Wow. But we sat there and we let Ebola kill the people because they didn't know how to wash their hands. Cell phone. But everybody in Liberia busy protecting their jobs and busy protecting this thing and protecting that thing, and nobody seeking the interests of the Liberian people. So when you have an old man who frankly her time is over, she has ruined Liberia, stand up and say we must get citizens to people who own country. Lebanon does not allow nobody who parents were not born Lebanese to be citizen of Lebanon. I want to ask her, my sister, what happened? You 90-something year old, go sit down now. We're tired with you.
Okay.
So,
That's a good one. That's a good one. And this is why we talk about this collective rage, collective outrage. These are the things that we're supposed to be angry about, furious about. What Mrs. King just mentioned, like back in the days, there were programs, teaching people about basic sanitation and hygiene. But the government nowadays do not focus on those things. But we are not angry. We're not angry about those things. But when somebody make a certain statement, then everybody, they're calling for his head on a platter.
Mr. Taco.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Taco.
Yes, Mr. King.
When Mrs. King mentioned about the cell phone, that's what I started since 2008 to teach my group through the cell phone. I gave them PowerPoint presentation. I gave them assignments. I'm teaching them through the cell phone. And it cost me nothing except to get them on the internet. Yes. Now just imagine if I can do something like that, what the government can do. Yeah. I teach these young people on their cell phones as well. The person is in, Mr. Mawalo, they're going maybe from, let's say, I don't know, from Ganta to Saclapia in the car. And the person has their cell phone open up and listening to my lectures. And he says, oh, Coach King, someone else is here. Can they listen to? I said, of course. In the car, they're going from one point to another, and they are so excited to be even listening. And the person behind is getting that knowledge in it will settle somewhere. I don't know where, but one day it will come up and the person will say, oh, I was listening to something one day. How far it goes, I don't know. But I'm doing my part, you see. And all of us listeners out there who are in this era to talk to young people, get them connected with those who are ready to impart knowledge and skills to them. We are willing to do that, but get them connected. That's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. There is a need, yes, even with the current crisis that is looming over our country. We have a government that is not even making use of all these means of communication to inform the populace, regularly inform the populace, because in times like these, like if the information is not coming from the leadership, you risk, having misinformation, causing chaos. The situation becomes even more chaotic. So the government needs to, utilize all of the resources at its disposal to keep the people abreast, keep the people informed.
And you have that young man who opened up a library, not library, a learning center.
Yes.
What's his name? Lapolo
Leo Johnson.
Leo Johnson. He came and here's a situation where the government can make education department should be making use of that era, one way or the other. Now I'm not in higher education, so I'm just saying, you gave me a room and gave me access to chairs. Shoot, I'm ready to jump in there.
But Dr. Mr. King, excuse me 1 minute, Thomas. Dr. King, just to inform you.
Not Dr. I just Mr. King.
I know, Mr. King, just to inform you, Leo went to the Ministry of Education and told them that they could work with him and raise enough money to build one of those centers in every county. You know what they told him? That was too expensive.
Yeah, that book that we eat. They say too expensive, huh?
He alone raised the money to build that one.
Yeah.
And he said if the government will collaborate with him, he can encourage the Canadian government to work with the government to build one of those things in every county. And the government has refused so far.
And that was the Minister of Education, right?
Ministry of Education, they refused so far.
That good woman, that good person.
Yeah, but she finding St. Teresa's convent and she trying to be moral police. Her job is to educate the kids, and not be moral police.
That's some of the problem.
That's a foolishness.
You don't.
And who confirmed them? Who confirmed them? Who confirmed them?
Got the kind of country
who confirmed them, Mr. Mawalo? Who confirms them?
Are they Senate?
The legislature.
Back to the square one.
Exactly.
And who they're confirming?
Okay, gentlemen, we're moving closer to the hot topic, the hottest topic, the border situation. And I will begin with Mr. Mawolo and Mr. Wolokoli, National Security Advisor, analyst, and a former military officer. So we are hearing calls for the impeachment of.
Correction. I was not an officer. I was a non-commissioned officer.
A non-commissioned officer. Thank you for that correction. Yes.
Not an officer. I was not a commissioned officer. A non-commissioned officer.
Thank you, sir. Good point. So I'll start with you, Mr. Mawolo, and then Mr. Wolokoli can come in to follow up. So do current impeachment calls against Yeke Koluba reflect genuine concern for the country, or are they part of a political score settling and diversion tactics by the government?
No, I think it's just a distraction.
Yeah.
The government really is having problem handling what's happening. So they're looking for every other thing that would distract. Listen,
Mhm.
You don't pay attention to Yeke when he talks about things that happens locally. So why do you pay attention to him when he's saying something that has to do with another country? You know, what makes it so important now? Every other thing he's talking about, the government hasn't even given him the district, what they call it, the money they give
Development funds.
development funds for years, and he have said all kind of things to them. He had taken them to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ordered them to give. They still won't give it. You don't care to mention to deal with that, but you care about what he says about what his sources told him. Listen,
Mhm.
I think it's just distraction.
Yes.
You can frame it any kind of way. You know, like they say, a police can always find crime for you. The same
Mhm.
way the government can always find things to blame you for. But I think it's foolishness, and it doesn't affect anything. My thing is that anybody to be impeached is the president. He has reneged on his oath that he took to the nation to defend and protect us. And up to now, we still got no protection. And that is the highest danger we have ever faced. We still got no protection. You know, a whole country endowed with hundreds of millions of dollars in resources. You got no protection. And this kind of thing happened and it's exposed to the world that we got no protection. Do you know how many other things can happen that we won't be able to do anything about? The president should be impeached. The whole government should be impeached, as far as I'm concerned. These people are irresponsible. And up to now, we know nothing about what is happening. Yet our people sit like waiting ducks in harm's way because it could come from anywhere. We got resources all over the country. They tell me that Nimba Mountain is full of uranium. And no, it's the Wallagizzi that's full of uranium, and the Nimba Mountain is full of cobalt, and all those kind of things. Those are things that in high demand in the world. And you got a country that you got no security. I am pissed about that part. And if somebody need to be impeached, it's the president, the Senate, the House of Representatives, the NSA director, the defense minister, the security advisor to the president. Every one of them need to go because this is complete and total nonsense and shouldn't have happened. How come we didn't know it was even happening? What happened to the NSA? That's their job. How come there was nobody to the border when that's the only job of the military? You know, I don't. This thing annoys me every time I think about it, and I think if I had the power, all of them would go. Every single. They will have re-election next week. This thing not going to work.
Okay. Yeah. It's really scary these days. So, thank you, Mr. Mawolo. Mr. Wolokoli, how serious is the threat to Liberia's sovereignty posed by alleged encroachment and illegal mining activities along the border, particularly around the Makona River that we shared with all three Mano River Union countries?
So the last part of your question is a little bit confusing. Can you?
So how serious is the current border, the encroachment of the Guinean government into Liberian territory? How serious is it?
All right. So, Mr. Mawolo, right?
Yeah.
Are you related to? Were you related to Tanu Mawolo?
No, I know him, but I'm not related to him.
Okay. All right. So I agree with what you most of your assessment of what you said earlier. When this thing took place, I wrote a post condemning the president for going to Guinea. The fact that his foreign minister, his national security advisor, Kofi Woods, who don't have no experience in security, the chief of staff, the national defense, the minister of defense, allow the president to fly to Guinea to go and speak on behalf. And when that took place, and they still send the troops over the border, right now Liberia has three options. The president can go back to Guinea and beg Guinea president, please let us. I would say four now. Let us. Please, I beg you, hold your foot, everything, and beg him. That's one. Two, he can put troops on the border, send troops to say, hey, drive the Guinean forces back. Three, he can talk to Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, and stuff to close the borders with Guinea to kind of strangle their economy. But it is on. It was hubris and incompetency on the part of President Boyka, because he felt that, I'm older, so I can go and talk to him and he will listen to me, and he must listen to me. In Liberia, the term that they use around here is that, Guinea president is his partner. They are partners. And I asked them, I said, and I tell them, no, they are not partners, they are counterparts. He's the president of Guinea and he's the president of Liberia. They are not partners in running Liberia and Guinea. So when you say in partners, there's the Guinean president understand they are counterparts, but Liberia president understand that they are partners, because it's the hubris and the incompetency of the president and the Unity Party-led administration who believe that this is how things are supposed to happen. So the fact that February 11, 2026, the president, the minister of defense announced that they were going to start recruitment of the armed forces, 600 a year. Up to now, we have not started recruitment. The army is 2,500 men and women strong. They have no plan. The minister of defense, the budget that was just passed, the minister of defense did not go go to Capitol Hill to the House of Representatives or to the Senate to explain her budget. She didn't put anything in her budget for recruitment. So when you go all around and around, it's just the lack of, I call the Unity Party-led government and President Boyka mediocre. It's the lack of planning. So it is all in that to say, yes, we have a serious problem. President Boyka is weak. The Unity Party-led government is weak. They can sit around, pass around, acting tough and everything, but we don't have, in a sense, internal forces, per se to do anything, but we have external forces who could do damage in the country. You have police officers that are so undisciplined, lacks integrity. You have the police IG person, the head of the police, wearing American military ribbons, claiming that he earned those ribbons. That's dishonesty and lack of discipline.
Okay, thank you. We'll come right back to you. This is getting this. This is okay. Please, quickly.
Go ahead. Ask, no, I'm just saying these are the small things. We have a saying in the military: the small mistakes that you make will lead to fatal death. This is what we have. We have people in positions that you have a lawyer in places that's not where a lawyer is supposed to be. You have people, you'll say this person is an engineer, but you don't put an engineer in public works. You put an engineer in places like finance ministry or archive, or So all those things is the fact that, because I call them professional politicians. They only got a job because they were in the party, not because they are qualified for the.
Let's make it a little bit interactive. It's getting interesting. We'll come right back to you. So, both Mr. King and Mr. Maolo, giving your respective backgrounds in criminal justice and law enforcement and foreign policy and national security. Do you agree with the points made by Mr. Wolokoli? And if not, what concrete steps should the government take immediately to investigate and address the alleged illegal mining by officials and foreign actors along the Makona River or within the Makona River?
I have a couple of things to say, and Mr. Mawalo can come in afterwards. Number one, the issue before they had even gone to Guinea, the president should have contacted experienced people who understood and understands the OAU and the whole Organization of African Unity and the ECOWAS and West Africa issues.
Can I interject quick? May I interject quick?
Yes.
My fourth thing was to send an envoy. I'm sorry I didn't say anything. To send an envoy to Guinea, like you are saying before the president went over there. The likes of Mr. Stephen Tauber, who has a very vast background. I would suggest a vast background within Guinea. That's somebody who should have went over there to kind of smooth out some things.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to mention Ambassador Wallace, who's at the Foreign Ministry. He's from the old school and understand the Organization of African Unity. For Mr. Barker to have gone to ask for France, he should never have done that because he don't understand the history of Guinea and the French. So you have experienced people in the political era who could have advised the president what steps to take. And remember, we are what prominent member of the United Nations, and the whole world is looking at us. But that's one thing. That's on the political side. I'm just saying that's who they should have contacted. Number two, I agree with Mr. Mawolo that they should look at that security apparatus and fire them. Because if you sit down in the NSA and people come into your country and take down your flag and put up their flag, that is nothing to play with. The military, all of this comes into the fact that you do not consult with professionals for the security of your country. And you have security people who are qualified, you do not call upon them to give you advice. And no one within the security apparatus calls to find out or to even seek advice. So you have something like this happening in your country, someone comes, first of all, let me ask you, which Liberian military would you think would even cross into another country and pull down their flag and put up their Liberian flag? You see, people who were brought into ECOWAS that came into Liberia when we had our problem, some of those same people are now back in their own countries and they know all about the weakness of Liberia. They know the weakness of our military forces. They know the weakness of our security forces. I can remember when the ECOWAS people, forces came to Liberia. I was in Sierra Leone at the time. And I will never forget the image that struck me. They were changing the military people and sending them back to their countries to, send a new group. When the door of that airplane opened, I will never forget it. One of the soldiers was holding the Liberian flag like this and shaking it as though we got Liberia. You take your flag from Liberia, and they opened the door and they had the flag like this, shaking like this, spread out. The Liberian security forces, if Boyka and his group continues like this, that encroachment will continue to come and come and come in. When they had the problem concerning the, I think the Bikini going into and taking over land, remember they were doing some farming, Mr. Mawolo? They were doing some farming. They were coming in and doing farming. Ever since then, people wrote about that. I wrote about that and made comment. Nothing happened. I said it would be, you got to take steps now. Nobody pick it up. In the presidential office, he should have a group of people sitting down, analyzing all the comments in the newspapers and feeding him with this information of what comes up in there. The NSA, who's there? Who is there? Who's qualified to be there? And so on and so forth. The police, that's my era. Military, that's out of my era. That are other people. I'm in law enforcement, public safety. So I know what I'm talking about. Who do you have? What organization do you have in the NSA? What people do you have? Law enforcement officers. When you appoint these people in the different law enforcement and public safety areas, they sit down, they go into the confirmation, they say they will do this, they will do that, they will do that. You're supposed to be at the representative on that hill talking on behalf of your organization. Look at the fire department. Look at the type of fires that take place in Liberia. All they can do is quote how many fires took place, how many lives, or blah, 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 blah. That's all. And when you ask them, they say, well, we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have. What do you mean you don't have it? We know that. But what are you there for? You're supposed to be spending your time on the Capitol Hill to get the things for your organization. But no, because what I have found out is that if they may want to do something, but they don't understand project. They don't know management. They don't know how to operationalize what they need. They just think by being a head of department, the things will come to them. I was head of an organization and deputy head of an organization. And I knew when I needed vehicles for my CID officers, and any one of them can testify to this. I went out when I got appointed there as deputy director of police for CID affairs. I went out to GSA and I brought in 4 vehicles. 5 vehicles, in fact, for my officers. Not one for myself. I have my own private car. I didn't need it. That's how you do it. But you sit down there, you don't have this, you don't have that. And what the devil you there for as head of an organization, and especially a security organization? The training, the discipline that Mr. Mawalo talked about, the discipline is important. But who do you have? Once I spoke to one of the Inspector General of Police a couple of years back, June Sirleaf administration. I told him what I would be happy to do. He said, "Oh, Mr. King, director, I will call you when I get back to Monrovia." Nothing. Because they don't want to ask. They don't want to ask. You have a fire service people coming from the United States to go there and make a big issue about how the Capitol building was. Really? Your own fire chief couldn't do that? That's what you fire chief for. You're supposed to have the equipment to do it. But no, they just take the jobs because that man, good man. That's all they do. So when you're getting up there to take a position, are you qualified? Are you ready to go and fight for your organization? But you go up there and talk good to the representatives instead of telling them what you are demanding. Because if you would just take a job without letting them know what you are demanding and what you need, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Because the minute something happens, they will point fingers at you. And that would be right. Because if I was in a House of Representatives, I'd point my finger at you too. I wouldn't even confirm you. But again, you mentioned what the people put there and the quality of what they would get. But yes, the security apparatus is responsible and negligent. and they were sleeping on duty. That's the bottom line.
Okay, Mr. Mauro will come in, and then we'll bring in Mrs. King to look at the socioeconomic, ramification of what was happening. First, Mr. Mauro. Mr. Mauro, you are muted. Oh, I think I can fix it from there. Okay.
Okay, I got it. The first thing is the only job the NSA has is to make sure they keep their ears to the ground. Nothing that happens in that country that they shouldn't know about. You know, I remember back in the day when the LU children used to demonstrate. Before they get on the street in the morning, the paper is already on top of his desk. They tell them who was leading it, where it was coming from, and all of that.
Yeah.
Even though these guys will go on campus and drop leaflets at night. In the morning, Joe will come and meet one of those leaflets on his desk. Even the town chiefs, the paramount chiefs, the clan chiefs, janitors and cleaners and building maintenance people, they all work for the NSA. Drivers, taxi drivers, bus drivers, all these people. Why? Information gathering. Until they have people in the American security forces at the airport and all of that. There was nothing that you could come to Liberia and they didn't know. How come? The first thing you see a neighboring country building up their security forces is to draw your attention. Why are they? What's the essence of this? Because the first thing, if we're all friendly, it's like, what I call it is the soldier man. It's like when they turn their back to each other, everybody looking in the other direction, so I know my back is covered, right? So you all neighboring countries. Everybody protecting the other ones. But there's one guy building up. The NSA, not only should they see that and worry about that, but she will put somebody in there to find out what's going on. They should have a more in every security force around to know what's going on. And when they know what's going on, it's time to tell the president what to do to avoid it. That's when you have the joint security meeting. We need to beef up the forces at so borders. We need to beef up the equipment that we need in this place. And all of that. People said if they had not gotten rid of Patrick Minicon and Grady Allison, the war was going to stop indefinitely. But when Doe made a mistake and got rid of Minicon because he died and no investigation, they just brought him and buried him. And then they got rid of Grady Allison. There was nobody who understood. And then the people who they put there were not connected like that. So that's how the war crossed over. But NSA knew that they were transporting arms in Red Cross truck between Burkina Faso and Ivory Coast and Danone. I mean, they show it live on French TV because I lived in France at the time. Red Cross truck. And the government knew. But they had no leader to know what to do. A smart leader would say, you know what? Bring the heavy equipment people from Nama, put them right in Grand Gita and bomb Danade. There will be a war between Liberia and Ivory Coast, and the whole plan was going to change. Then we start over. America will have to get involved. France will have to get involved. United Nations get involved and stop it. Then the whole charted plan was going to be quelled. But then nobody was there to do what they needed to do. So yeah, it became village issue. Let them come, let them come. It's like what God doing. You see another man invade your country. Not only that your NSA didn't tell you, your national security advisor didn't know nothing about it, but they come into your country, put your flag down, and hosted their flag. And you say, we all related, we brother and sister. Who you want to be paramount chief? Go in a village. You're running a country. Nobody does that. What that means, that you couldn't insult a country more than that. And the people come and do it to your country. These valiant Liberians were able to fight them and put the flag back up and push them across the. It shouldn't have taken more than 6 hours for that place to be flooded with Liberian military so that the people don't cross again. But no, until today, the military is still not there. I say they should impeach the president, the vice president, the speaker, the pro temp, fire the NSA chief, the defense, the chief of staff, all of them.
Everybody.
Let's have a new election. Because this is as much as cutting every citizen throat. We got no country where we stand. And that hurts like hell. It hurts. And people want to say, oh, diplomacy. Listen, you don't go to diplomacy with empty hands. You got to have something you're willing to bargain with.
A bargaining chip, yep.
You got a man standing in your country. You at that point, that's not diplomacy, you begging. You begging because what are you gonna do? And then people like it's funny. People say when you send the military people there, it might make the Guinean military that are in our country nervous. Really? That's what the military is there for. Make them nervous. Listen, America is fighting right now in Iraq and we don't even know. We're here. That's what the military is there for. They fight.
Yeah.
And Ms. Mawalo, you're quite right. They should investigate. They should investigate every single one of them. Every single one of the NSA, the police, all investigate and find out where that fault lies.
Yeah. You said they said soldiers cross. They say soldiers cross over and you say police. That means you don't even know the term of reference for the people's job. You send police. What is this soldier cross over to your country? Can police fight soldiers? You crazy? You think because they got guns so that means they can do what? You know what it means when it says military fighting vis-a-vis police fighting? Come on, what's wrong with these people?
I'm telling you.
So they have proven in several ways that they're incapable of running this country. Look, Liberia, if it were up to me, they will have a new election next week. I'm not joking. This thing is scary like hell. And if they don't do what this guy wants, they're going to keep on pushing in. We got Walagizi right there in Lofa County, and these people are. And if people sees it, what do you have to stop them? And if people sees Mount Nimba, and their justification will be the people who are mining in Yekepa, being digging into the mine, came into Guinea side, so we're seizing the whole mountain. What will you do? Yesterday, I heard that they were at Ganta border.
Huh.
Listen, this thing is unnerving for me. I get very irritated the more I think about it. So who am I? If I'm going to sit down and somebody sees my country, how do I identify myself as what? Look, let it just stop there because it really getting to me.
It is really serious. Yes, it is really serious. But let's thank you for that. Mrs. King, how does the border crisis affect socio-economic activities between the two countries, Liberia and Guinea?
we have two different presidents who are coming from two different thought process. We have a old school, old guard president who remembers the day when people shook hands with Shaka Stevens and Secretary. I think what Liberia failed to realize is that those days, those things could happen because all of those men were quote unquote crowder boys. They all came up together, and Liberia position back then was a force to be reckoned with. Liberia drove the direction of West Africa and many other African issues.
Yes.
Now, Liberia like kitchen ball.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that what
Nobody
hurt.
have respect for Liberia.
Nobody.
And then when you have a conceited young man who got his own agenda, because you see now he not taking the military uniform now. He got his own agenda and trying to prove his own worth to his people. And then you got an old man who's still functioning on the old school diplomatic way of doing things. Right there and then, you got cell phone, social media, and Instagram, Twitter against beating the drum and the town crier crying. The optics there are two different optics. So everything everybody has said is true. Mr. Brecker is a diplomat. He knows he had no... I don't understand how he even took the risk. First of all, they need to grab Rattin. They need to whip the Minister of Defense. They need to treat them like small children, because that small children thing that you endanger that man's life. What if they had grabbed that man in Guinea?
They were going to sit down.
We're gonna go smoke the peace pipe. According to Mr.
We'll all go
Blackhouse.
sit down to my foot and say,
Somebody need to go pick. Not even, let me don't use Rattin. Somebody, no, they need to send them to go pick the switch. You know what your mom say you to go pick your own switch.
Go pick your own switch.
Yeah. Send all of them to go pick the switch and whoop them.
Yeah.
Because they endangered the life of the president in this kind of hotbed thing. You went to Guinea, you even said, let go to Sierra Leone, or let go to Ghana, let go someone neutral to say that. You get rid of that.
Yes.
What kind of thing is this? But Liberia, I mean, we just spend time showboating. That's all we do. A few days ago, for example, the director of the diaspora office, they came here, they had whole conference. We participated. We all fill out forms. We did this, we did the other thing. Like Brandman said, we here. We here. But 2 days ago, he was smiling to the ambassador handing him the report.
Mm-hmm.
Then he was smiling to Reverend Emma Dunn too, sending him the report. Seriously? When will we stop showboating around? When will we get down to do some real work? Say what you want to say about the old people. You can come back and say, oh, the Firestone contract was bad. Da, 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 da. But those people did work.
But you got to know the history of that before you
do.
do it.
And you got Liberians do not talk about context. We do and on issues on a poor African country of 1920, what 30 something.
Mm-hmm.
We want, they have no conception about context of time and what was happening around Liberia. But all we want to do is showboat. Can't take picture. What are you doing? So this Guinean thing, it's a serious matter. And I'm sorry, I maybe disagree with everybody, but Yaka Koluba had no right to say what he said. Absolutely not. He should not. Look, what we always say, hey, y'all want fuss? Fuss inside your house. When you can't outside, everybody friendly. Because you cannot allow the man into your house. You cannot allow the man to see the weakness of your house. So he had no right to say what he said. He was wrong. God's breaker. Complain. But you do not give the Guineans something to hold over your head. And that comes from inexperience.
Mm-hmm.
And the inability to think logically. That's what it comes from. You don't do that. Get your complaint to the people that you do whatever you want to, but do not make those kinds of remarks. You don't. At all. I don't care how wrong Boycott is, or when you think Boycott, how wrong Boycott thinks. You do not do that. Come on now. When again it comes back, when are we going to learn loyalty to Liberia? And watch the things we say. Be careful with your words. You can take it back. But we need to whip the defense minister, the NSA people. Those people need to be, they must go pick their own switch because they have committed grave injustice against Liberia. That Japan, the grace of God, those people in harm now, and the president when he was in Guinea.
Oh yeah.
When in this world have you seen two countries in a conflict and they go inside the other person's house to go talking? Even when two neighbors fussing, you don't go to your neighbor house to go first. You go to the paramount chief, you go to the elder, you go to somebody to talk the power. You don't go in the main house. So, you know what? I know what to do with your people.
No, let me say something, Antama.
Yes.
Mrs. King. The problem with that is that the both of them, whose land the man infringed upon, were the one who got in plane to go to go to the man to preside over a meeting about their land that he infringed on. I mean,
you couldn't call no other African country. You couldn't call no other African country and request a space to meet there.
No, but you see, some of the things I don't like in that country is misplacing title. We call you call Wolokoli officer. He said no, our non-commissioned officer.
Yes.
I mistakenly called Mr. King, Dr. King. He said no, I'm not Dr. King, right? People keep on calling Boga ambassador, Boga, this and that. Ambassador, what diplomacy he done? Because he will know what not to do.
Yes.
You understand? If the people around him have better sense, but I'm sure he told them, because when he speaks, I tell people, why we keep on fooling ourselves that we got democracy when we got monarchy? Why we keep on fooling ourselves? Let's just call it what it is. Because since everything the president say everybody buy, let's call it what it is. We call it the kingdom.
Not even monarchy, Mr. Mawolo. That one that yes, sir.
Yeah, let's call it the kingdom of Liberia. instead of going to the Republic of Liberia.
Patronage. Patronage is more
I'm sure,
appropriate.
I'm sure everybody was too scared to say, let's go to the man who go talk. And nobody was brave enough to say, Mr. President, that's a wrong move. So other than joining the plane and follow him. You know,
so I mean, you gotta be willing to risk your job.
yeah.
You got to be willing to say, Mr.
Where's the
President, that's not a good
historian?
move.
Where's the historian that worked in that mansion? Because that's the first person issue. Because the truth is, what they're telling us is not what's wrong. The people crossed that water for different things.
Yes.
And the man made that demand when they went to Guinea. He told them his troops will not move from there. In fact, he will increase as long as that thing is not satisfied. And now, look, there are two things there. You cannot have a neighbor close as these guys are, Sierra Leone, Guinea, because our next neighbor after them, Guinea, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, then at the ocean, right? Those people, we got to have the best relationship with them, especially knowing the weakness of our military. Those people are the ones who are going to protect you from outside interference. But if we having problem with Guinea, because he demanded something, that means we were open at that point.
Yes.
If somebody want pass through Guinea to come to Liberia, the president of Guinea not going to stop them. He said, go there.
Oh, yes.
You know? And so, this whole thing, the more I think about it, the more angry I get. That we vacillating over the main issues and worrying about somebody. And Mrs. King, nobody said Yake was right. What we see is not important right now.
Yeah.
Because Guinea can't carry that to court.
Yeah.
And besides that, we got historical evidence, because what people keep talking about 1907, there was a meeting after 1907 that solved that issue for good.
Yeah.
So why we're not talking about that issue? And that issue put the landmark in the middle of that water. Makona River didn't start from Guinea. It started from the Atlantic Ocean and runs through the three neighboring countries. And out of that same Makona River, you get the Lofa River and all those things there branching off. So nobody owns it. And that line, the line of demarcation, is at the furthest bottom point, where one side is on the Liberian side, one side is on the Guinean side. But if we have to do anything in that river, we got to consult the neighboring country, which they say we didn't do. But the main issue, they're not the mining area, because people have been mining there ever since. The black sand mining is one kind of mining that the people got to be concerned about. Because what Liberian people don't know, and the Chinese people are getting for free, is that black sand is what they use to make glass. And they're letting the Chinese people take it for free. They're not paying the government anything for it. The Guinean people saw the people pour whole equipment on the water to mine black sand. So that they already wanted to do what they did, but there was good excuse now to do what they did. So let the government be frank with us and tell us what it is. Then let them do their due diligence to get the Guinean off our borders so that our people can rest in peace. The poor people are ran from their homes. They're not in their home no more. They say people stealing their chicken, their goats, and everything. As usual, human being, where one is in distress, the other one take it to exploit.
Yes.
So they ran from their farms because nobody want to be sleeping in the morning. You get up, then they say you in Guinea. What I heard from Sierra Leone, that they deporting the Guineans who were on the side that they took, and said the foreigner, because they ain't got people in Guinea, and that place is Guinea now. How can we be so weak? What we take our countries to be? Like what are talking about? If you got no security, you got no country. So the first thing, enforce the borders. enforce the border, then you got a country to fight with. But you got no borders.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say you got a country? So you're president of which country? So, I mean,
Okay, it's really frustrating. The more you talk about it, the angrier you become. The more frustrated you become. But we cannot lose hope. Let's continue to do what's needed to be done to make our country better. With that, we have two more points to cover and just three. Two more points. Yeah, very quickly. So we'll look at citizens' collective action and reform, and how can citizens organize effectively in a context where poverty, fear, and dependence on politicians often weaken public resistance? Mrs. King, you want to begin with that one?
Read that again for me.
So, how can citizens organize effectively in a context where poverty, fear, and dependence on politicians often weaken public resistance? So, we're talking about collective anger, collective outrage. But most of the time, people want to protest against these politicians, but they're afraid because these are the same politicians who are putting money in their pockets. So, how can we, overcome that obstacle?
Look, I'm a proponent for citizens exercising their rights to protest and to express their displeasure. Where I'm leery is that Liberians don't know how to do it. Liberians too are right now still functioning under the mindset of being combative. Look when they go to protest. Example, Saturday, the No King's March. People were walking with a banner saying what they gotta say. Yeah. No, not Liberians. So they go sing South African war song. Now even the South Africans don't sing no more.
Exactly.
The outdated ones.
Even the thing that people don't use no more.
My dear. I say that even in South Africa, the people don't use the thing.
Thank you.
They're done.
We're not fighting for freedom no more. This is not a fighting for freedom issue. So why are we going dressed like military? What's that? They even know what they're saying.
Yeah.
So how can those people express their displeasure for control where they're not burning things? They're not coming like they're about ready to can't go to war. With 30-something-year-old men they're talking about the youth and disturbing the peace. So that's where I'm leery on protests in Liberia because it's not organized resistance.
Yes.
Where people are expressing themselves, they're marching with peace, they're not burning things, they're not cussing, the police people, and the police people not coming in riot gear. That the only uniform Liberian police people got riot gear. Anytime you see them, you see them with that helmet. Look, that helmet on the head and the shield. Come on. You are there actually not, Mr. King will talk about it more, but you there really to protect the protesters. That's what you there for. You there so that people can lawfully do what they need to do. You're not there to create more chaos and stuff. This is not a militant state. Complete difference between the people who were protesting in America and the people who were protesting in Israel. They were beating no people. They were pushing no people. It's like, come on now. And so Liberians, I don't know if Liberians are mature enough for protests. They are not mature. They
Okay.
don't understand.
Yes. Yes. I once worked on a project where I was encouraging young people to um, express their anger through creative means, creative expression, arts, they performing arts, music and what have you, instead of doing so through violent means or violently. But good point, Mr. King. How can, to build up on that, how can Liberians um, be more strategic and more civil in resisting some of the ills of our society coming from the government?
Law enforcement,
Mhm.
professional law enforcement, should I say professional law enforcement and public safety, they go hand in hand. The police officer is the first line of defense in a nation. What the police should be doing is asking and inviting all the political party leaders to a forum together with some of their members and give a training program to them on how to demonstrate what the police are there for, the procedures that are necessary to be followed, and make the procedure easier to follow, and let all the people that have to sign the documentation, and let the people walk. Explain to them the traffic situation, the rights of other people, commerce, and in all of those should be explained to them. And as Mrs. King says, what you showing up with a riot gear for? You are preempting something. You are saying we're ready for you fight, but they're not ready. I saw it myself. Some women were at the executive mansion some years, I think maybe a year ago, and yes, a year ago, and they went there to demonstrate. The women were sitting down. Here's the officers in riot gear standing in front of them to block them from 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 being seen from the executive to all, the big executive mansion. Why are you blocking them? What is the purpose of blocking them? Let the people express their desire and you be there to safeguard them, direct them, help them through traffic. But you have to educate the people because they're in that different mentality. Now, if you say, "Oh well, Coach King," they won't understand. No, they will understand because you are showing something for their safety, and then you are helping them establish marshals for the day that will wear special bands, and they will walk on the side of the group, and you have police officers assigned in locations or with them so that when a person is arrested for some sort of disorderly conduct, the marshal who would be there would say, no, he is with us or he's not one of us. You see, then you stop the type of rumors that will spread. And then you have your public safety officer, information man or woman, getting up on the radio and say and report exactly what happened. Take pictures of the people who are causing the trouble with a representative from that political party saying that person is not from us. You see, that's how you do it. You're supposed to diffuse things. And that's what public safety is about. That's what professional law enforcement officers, administrators do. You see? Now, the other aspect is you can invite them to the police academy and give them a talk about demonstration, about peaceful demonstrations. And then don't be so quick to, when you say to them, you have to get a documentation for demonstrating in the street. You make it difficult for them. They got to go here, they got to go there, they got to go there. What's all that for? You create a situation where they become frustrated. When it could have easily been done, here's the form, it goes to this person, you have an outline plot for this street, sign it, there you go, bam, finish. But go come back tomorrow. We have to go this place. The person who's supposed to sign it, not there, he going out of town. What's all that foolishness for? You see? And then you have information. So look, when I was at the deputy director of police for CID affairs, when any reporter needed information on crime, I welcomed them to the office. Come on in. Come and let's talk about it. Come and let's talk about how we can reduce crime, how we can reduce the fire incidents. Come, let's talk. Don't make them afraid. Don't make them afraid. So it can be done. You don't have to use the force. You are there to help public safety and help the people express themselves peacefully. That's what you should do. And the way it's being done, it aggravates and it's reactive. That's not the way to do it. The police officers, first of all, when they also, you say collective citizenship, each issues now, when they're breaking up homes or buildings, the police got no business going in there to help move people. That's not their responsibility. You get public works or the other people from whatever organization to go and do what they have to do. Police don't go up and start moving things. The police supposed to be out there to protect people stealing and fighting. But you put them in a situation where you interact negatively with the people. You don't do that. Now, I will continue for those who may be listening. I was trained at the Liberian Police Academy 9 months. I went through training there. I went through all the states, all the status for it, and I worked with people from all the different counties, from all different economic strata of society. We slept in a dormitory. We chopped at the grass. We did everything, you see, on the police academy. And then I came abroad for my advanced training. But this is how now you got to be able to get with the law enforcement officers and they understand you. And then you train them properly. You know, for 3 weeks you go in there or 2 months you go there, you come out. No, that's play police. The late Thelma Gardner used to say, he was another chief of police, director of police. He said they play police officer. They play people. Summer and Smith used to say they play people. You see? So if you want professionalism, you have to be able to know where the professionals are. Not anyone who come with criminal justice degree, you say he's a professional. No. You gotta have experience. You see? You gotta have experience. I joined the police in 1965. I was a cadet working, and then I went into the police academy. That's where you become and understand the true understanding of the society. That's where you learn it. And that's why people they can't touch me because they think I just got a position like that. No, I went through training. You see. So, and I understood and understand how to work with the people out there from all strata of society. But you come from America, you come by and say you got a degree, and they make you so and so and what that. And I can challenge any one of them. That's why they didn't hear me. Let's go, Mr. Wallow. You take it over, man.
Look, listen. The problem with Liberia is that
Mr.
everybody.
Marlowe, you want to save that? You want to save your best for the final one?
No, let me deal with this police.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
The problem with Liberia is that everybody
Mm-hmm.
in leadership and in the society are traumatized. And Liberia will only change when somebody who is not traumatized will take the helm of that country,
Yeah.
and make sure other people behave right. Why do people react in negatively when there is a demonstration or protest? Fear. The only thing that comes to people's minds is what happened during the war and what happened during the coup. All bunch of traumatized people. It would take somebody whose mind is clear and who knows what running a better society is, who is not bothered or is not insecure about what they're doing and how they're leading the country. That kind of person would tell the police director, if people want to demonstrate, make sure you got police on the sides to protect them. I don't want nobody beating on those people or anything. Tell the security people when they come to the mansion, I will go talk to them.
Finish.
You know, when the people know that the president respects them, you don't shun them. When they come and you show them respect,
Yes.
the next time they want to demonstrate, even people in their group will say, you know what? The man always respecting, oh, we need to show him some respect. Has our leaders then been there to talk to him? Because if every time their leaders come around, the president has an open door for them, they will not have to be jumping on the street for everything. People will behave themselves. The security people will behave themselves. Because if you fire the police director for beating on students, the students will know that the president respects us. And the next time the president says, look, yeah, please get your leaders together and come. We don't have to do this. They will respect it. But if the man go beat the people up and you give him promotion, then the people say, okay, that war, let's fight it now. Because all the people, they traumatized like you. You know, so it would take somebody who is not traumatized.
Mr. Mawalo, the people, the inspector, the person in charge of the police and law enforcement has a standard. They should have a standard and understand the code of conduct. If they don't have the level of integrity, the president doesn't have to tell them what to do.
Yes, but that's in a normal, taking into consideration, Mr. King, that the society is normal. Our society is not normal.
Exactly. And that and there is no respect up or down. The people, who are you to summon the president? Who are you to go and summon the president? You don't summon the president.
Because everybody is in this militant posture.
Well, that's what she said.
Yes.
Everybody think they're fighting. And that's why it would take somebody with a clear mind who is not part of that trauma to bring the other people who are not traumatized to show the people how things are. You see, they say Liberian people how to, what they say, they quick, they hard to hear, but they quick to learn. You know, it would take somebody who is not traumatized to bring people who are not traumatized around him to show our people what it should be like. And I'm sure if they do, they will never go back to where they are. But because all they've known since the president, they want to talk to the president, everybody stop them. The president don't care to stop to look. Just simple courtesy, you show our people that all it would take. The people demonstrating, the president coming, instead of beating the people, the president can say, lead the people. Like Taba used to say, these are my precious jewels. You know, and that alone calms your heart. He said, damn, and the presidency sees me, right? You come down, look, our president riding bulletproof car, that alone tell you he's still in militancy state. You know? Any
president should be in bulletproof car.
For what? When last? Have
you don't know.
Tried to shoot at any president in Liberia?
That's not the point. You don't know when the crazy man will wake up.
Our peace is still fragile.
That's the problem. That because we all traumatized.
As a person who is trained with Secret Service and presidential security, I can't go with you on that one. You got to have the president in a bulletproof car.
So when last our president started
riding? We're not talking about when last.
No, and not when last because you don't know when somebody will. You don't know when somebody will act crazy.
Yeah, somebody
No,
will act crazy. You know how many
no,
layers of security you got? Because you
no,
don't get down from the bulletproof car and walk.
no, we're
So if
not talking
somebody
about that.
wanted to act crazy, they could still
I
act
can't
crazy.
even go into discussing that aspect because professionally, it would not be proper
But
on my part to understand it there.
that's the same
I
mentality
can't do
they
that.
had until somebody blew JFK head off.
Yeah, but they
Yeah, you
still
relax. You don't take chances when it comes to,
No,
I
you
mean,
do.
the
But
president. So,
I
the,
know.
mhm,
the fact
I,
of the matter is the
mhm.
lack of respect on everybody's part. When
nobody
students
has.
when
And that's
students
the
stand
trauma.
there, yeah, when students
You know
stand
that.
there and summon the president, or anybody summon the president, you don't summon the president, you go through a chain in which
The people in a militancy state, that's why I keep on telling you, the people not normal, they're not in normal
Yeah,
times.
but yeah, but it
Their
doesn't
minds
mean.
have been conditioned to think that everybody is an enemy.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, let me tell you something. This
Huh?
is what we're talking about now. We mentioned about putting what you call it, a engineer into a bakery.
Mm-hmm.
This person somewhere. Now, I'm a security expert.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm telling you something about president security. You want to discuss it with me and say
No,
no. You see,
no,
then
I
we
don't.
can't we can't
We're
go
not.
there
We're not
because this is my
discussing it.
background.
Make it clear to me why in Liberia does a
No,
president need
not
bulletproof?
no.
just
I don't have to
Liberia.
make it clear to you. The fact is, if you consider me as a professional
Uh
in
huh.
my line of work,
Mm-hmm.
then you want me to not explain to you? You see, that's the problem. That's
Oh,
why the
so I
president
can
wants
just leave
this.
it like that.
I know it's not a question of leaving it like that. I can tell you that as a member of a trained presidential security force,
Uh huh.
he will be in a bulletproof vehicle or we will take control of his security. So I'm not going to discuss any other area. That's my expertise. So no one can argue with me on that.
Now,
Yes,
You cannot.
yes, another thing, Mr.
You
Mawolo.
cannot.
uh,
The man, the man has his expertise. He explained it to you. Are you going to take it at that, or you going to stay in your? You see, that's what I mean. Let's be frank. That Liberian
Yeah.
way you behaving now. And the
Okay,
no,
man,
okay,
listen,
yes, man.
okay,
listen. You know
friend,
why? You know why? You know why
friend.
I'm asking this
All
question?
right, we'll give Mr. Maolo the last
Yeah,
word.
you know why I'm asking this question? It's
Okay.
not to challenge your expertise. It's
Mhm.
for my own understanding because for all my life, even though I didn't see him ride a bulletproof car.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that. I didn't see him ride bulletproof car.
Did you know his car wasn't bulletproof?
Most of the
I
time
know
it's
his
not
car
repaired.
wasn't bulletproof.
We have a bigger problem here, ladies and gentlemen. That is a very healthy exchange, by the way. We need more of those. Yeah. So but I mean, we're talking about collective outrage.
Yeah.
We're talking about conflict. We're talking about crisis. But we also need to uh, think about civility, right? Peace, right? And I'll borrow this one from an old speech that I delivered at a leadership institute in India many years ago. And I will like to share with the panel. And it goes, a time of crisis does not automatically transform into an era of peace and prosperity. Deliberate effort is required to overcome it, revealing the creative role humanity or citizens must embrace to restore order to society. So I want to close on that one, but then I will give you the opportunity to give us your closing comments. Any final advice for our government and our people?
I'll go first.
Okay, Mrs. King.
I wouldn't call it advice. I would say really a message to the powers that be, that we need to start rethinking what Liberia is, who Liberia is, and where Liberia is going. This play thing we keep doing year after year after year, and the years keep passing. Look at Rwanda. There are other countries who have war just as long as Liberia, and they've come so far. But we keep playing their play team. They play team, yeah, we do it. We keep regressing and not progressing. On top of that, we are asking the state men and women to go take the rest. You did your own, whatever you did your own, whether you did it good, you did it bad, your time over, go sit down. Stay under the basement right now. Stop muckling the waters. And let's continue to move forward. And people need to, everybody that comes to Liberia with suggestions or goodwill, they're not looking for nobody's job. Right now, I don't want Liberian government to pay my mortgage. I have no desire of leaving my families that I have here to go to Liberia to live. So when I do give suggestions or write a paper, it's from the goodness of my heart, hoping that people will pay attention. So anybody out there here, I don't want nobody job. Y'all can keep your job. Liberia too hot. I got no desire to live in Liberia. 2 weeks. That's all I get you to come visit. So when I express and share my knowledge, take it for what it is and let it help progress Liberia. Or else we will stay exactly where we are because unqualified people keep protecting their jobs that nobody wants.
Yes.
So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mrs. King. We appreciate you for your valuable contribution. Who next?
Should I go first, or Mr. King, you want to go first?
Mr. Mawalo, no, please, after you, sir.
Okay.
Well, Mr. King, you have the last one.
Yeah, it was a healthy conversation here, and it's good to have shared the platform with Mr. King and Mrs. King. And I don't know where Mr. Wolokoli has gone to.
Yeah, he's a politician, busy, a lot of meetings.
Okay. But, our country should be our concern, all of us. Every single citizen who call themselves a Liberian. When things are happening, we should worry about it. It should worry us, especially things like what's going on now. Just too much. Just too much for our people. There's no time to plan for the young generation's future. And if the country depends on the young people to take over, we have no young people prepared. So then what happens to the country? The conversation we're just having, I was talking about this whole idea of bulletproof something. If somebody told me, say, since the war, it became very scary for a Liberian president because anything could happen, I understand that. But my thing is that the kind of expense that we're seeing people put into what they do now, everybody is just trying to grab. Nobody's doing it for security reason, like Mr. King would say, for professional reason. The president in the rallies. It's not about that again. It's about how much I can get cut, how much cut I can get for doing this, for doing that, thus leaving nothing to do what needs to be done for that country. Look at our military today. We can't even defend our own country. Our people are running again, and the government is afraid to send the military to the border to protect us, and we pay them just to do that. Like Mrs. King said, Mr. King said, the play thing. Enough of the play thing. Let's start running our country like the way it should. And for the people who are not voiced in the areas that they are, it's time to get them out and put people who know what they're doing in those places to help our people be better. Our people have been traumatized, and nobody has tried to de-traumatize our people in any way. I mean, it starts from the little man to the people in authority, all traumatized. Because the people vote for them because they are the ones they know. But you will have to vote for somebody with a clear head to show you what it's supposed to be like, a better way. If we keep on taking somebody who is traumatized just like ourselves, we will keep on turning around like a dog chasing his own tail. And it's by time we put our mind together and start thinking about our children's future and say, if we want a better future for our children, then things got to be better. And if we want things to be better, we got to put people who are competent, capable, and able to make it better. So until we do that, we pray that our country remains the glorious land of liberty. In our national anthem, we say, with hearts and hands, our country's cause defending. We meet the foe with valor, unpretending. What happened to us the other day? Those children who fought those Guineans to put the flag back, that's valor. And I think they should be decorated for that. They risked their life to do it because they could have been killed doing it.
One was killed.
Anyway. But yet our government has not, till this moment, sent people to protect them. Send police to face soldiers. That won't take 24 hours. They will be finished with them. So if we want our country to be better, we got to vote better. We got to vote for people who might not be like us, but far capable than us, so that things can get better and so we can learn the best way to do things to make ourselves like Rwanda. We go now for training. We send our DNA there to be read. Why can't we? Are they, like Professor Lumumba would say, are we made of a lesser God? I don't think so. I think we can be, because we used to be one time the shining light of Africa, we can be again. We cannot live in this kind of shame and disgrace all the time. Enough is enough, and our children need a better life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maulo. Mr. King.
Thank you. Mr. Mawalo, you mentioned something that I've always liked about Baltimore. You say the strength of a nation. That was in Baltimore's book, Murder in the Cassava Patch. I think that was the title of that book, Mrs. King, if I'm not mistaken. I used to read that book. Of course, we all knew him and met him and discussed it. But I like that one, the strength of a nation, which you mentioned. He says, those who worry about their nation, those who are involved and want the best, they are the strength of the nation. So when you mentioned that, my mind went right over to Baltimore, a prolific writer. Liberia's, everything you said, I've taken into account and I understand it and I agree with you. Of course, the only one I don't agree with you is on that security issue, because my background is there and it will not change for nobody. But that's okay. We can agree to disagree. But that's the whole beauty about dealing with professionals, you see.
Yes.
We respect one another and put them in an area so that they can shine, so they can do their job. Now, if they don't do their job, then you move them.
Exactly.
You need city planners, you need people who understand traffic. I would never go in and say I can understand because I'm in law enforcement traffic. No, you need a city planner who studies traffic and movement. So those are the people you bring in and you tell them what you're looking for and let them go do the job. There's a representative that built a bridge in one of the counties, and you could see it on front page Africa. I think the dump truck was carrying rocks and cement and everything, and it went off the side of the bridge and broke the bridge. Now the people call him and say, "You put it in here. You got to come fix it." He said, "No, I only came to help you that day. The government is responsible for that." Now, why he didn't say that first, and why he didn't get the public works people to come in to go build a bridge? So you see, the mentality, as you mentioned, the trauma of people, and then the lack of knowledge. So now he's gone back again to bring proper cement. And what he there for? Because when we look at the steel raw self, he's not a he's not a builder, he's not an engineer, but he himself got to go because they gave him money. Now, long ago, if I'm and Mr. Mawalo, you can best tell me, long ago, when they had the superintendents, weren't they given the money to go and do the administration? It wasn't held by the senators or the representatives.
No.
So you don't give the senator $500,000 and say that for your county, and then he go and do what he want to. Who is he to decide what the people want? So all kinds of things can happen between the time they gain the money and what he's spending for. You see? So we're talking about corruption or misuse of government funds. I tell my students, when you are given a government job or anyone give you responsibility, you must account for your money or the goods. It's not witch hunting. Can your money. So we have to then spearhead this throughout the society, starting from the top. If you say you will declare your asset, declare your assets and let everybody see it. But you have to set an example. You all mentioned it. Mrs. King mentioned it. Mr. Wolakolli mentioned it. We all mention it. So can it be changed? Can we in our country set a new course? That is a question that those people who are listening to us, they will sit down and say, "Oh, Liberia got to change. We got to do a new mindset. We need to do this." But there the we. Sometimes when I hear the politicians get up and they say the government should do this, the government should do that, but they're the government. They're the government. They don't understand that they cannot separate themselves from. They are the government, but they don't know that because they have not been taught how to be a representative. They have not been taught what democracy is or political structure is. They don't know. They don't know what it is to be a representative. They don't know any of these things. So how will they know if they don't know? How will they know if they don't know? So they think going up there and giving rice and oil and fish and that's it. But you see, they need the people like that because it feeds them. Yeah, who I am. It feeds them because I can give you money. So you won't ask me what happened to the money that they gave me. So yeah, something here, here's something there. It will take a long time, but we have to start it. You, me, and others who are listening on this program. You can't say the people. You are the people. We are the people. So if you go up there and when someone is appointed minister of education, a minister of health, and you say, "Yeah, that good man, they live right next to my mom, pa house, that my pa, grandma, sister, son, uncle," all that kind of nonsense, just because the man got one little shop in the country, and so you will clap like this. What we have to do is a lot of work, as we all know. Can it be done? Those people who are listening on this program here, they are the ones that have to start it. Come on now. Say you want to listen to program, you want to hear us talk, we all finish talking. All of us finish talking. What y'all going to do now? You'll go right back That man, good person. Let's keep him. And nothing happens. You see? But I'm going to tell you all, I'm working with the youth. That's the one I'm dealing with. To help prepare them with some sense of responsibility. That's what I'm leaving behind, what you're leaving behind. Thank you, Mr. Sako.
Spot on, Mr. King. Okay, so thank you to our panelists, Mr. and Mrs. King, Mr. Mawolo, for providing your insightful analysis and proposing practical solutions to the many challenges facing our country today. We appreciate your contributions and look forward to further dialogue. Let's continue this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. See ya.
Okay. Thank
you. So take care now.
Take care now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this.
Okay. We are going to take this.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. Welcome to 1847 Liberty. We stream live from Minnesota, USA.
Okay, as we close today, oops. Okay, imagine a Liberia where citizens have the correct information and resources to hold their leaders accountable, demand transparency, and ensure public officials are answerable for their actions. This vision of Liberia isn't just a distant dream, but a potential reality we can collectively work towards. Also, imagine a society where young people eagerly use a range of creative communication tools to channel their anger and frustration into constructive dialogue and inspiring works of art. Your support, ideas, and energy are not just valuable, but essential. With your contribution, we can turn this aspiration into a living reality. Together, we can make this vision possible or achievable within our lifetime. Thank you for being an integral part of this journey. Your participation and support are deeply appreciated. And I look forward to our next meeting. But until then, take good care of yourselves and spread kindness wherever you go.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are around the world. Welcome to 1847 Liberty. We stream live from Minnesota, USA.